Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and we're hanging out here in the FishUSA kayak fishing outpost up here in Erie, Pennsylvania, and just coming up with ideas for videos. And I decided that I wanted to redo my FG knot video and tell you guys all the issues that you can have and how to fix them while you're tying the knot to make that knot easier to tie. So the FG knot is not the easiest knot in the world to tie, and what I always tell people is at a scale from 1 to 10, it's about a 9, and it takes some practice. It's something you want to sit down and have time to learn. It took me 2 days of practice. It takes some people just a couple of minutes, but it is a difficult knot. But it is the strongest line to leader knot, so braided line to a fluorocarbon leader knot, that you can possibly tie. A lot of the elite pros, a lot of the top pros in the country have switched over from the knot they were using to the FG knot, and that's why I think it's so important to teach you guys how to tie it. All right, so the first thing that's important is you have to keep tension on your braided line, and what I do is I bring my braid down below my reel on my rod, and I take that braid and I put it in my mouth. But before I do that, to keep from dropping my rod, dropping the braid while it's in my mouth, I just simply tie a couple of knots in the end of it. No big deal, just a couple of overhand knots, just to give my teeth something to bite onto, and then just pull that tight. You can't even see it, but you can feel it when it's in your mouth. You put it in there, and then you basically let the weight of your rod pull that tension. You want to make sure that your line goes all the way to the tip of that rod. It's got a lot of twist in it right now, so it's twisting up. Get that down. Alright, then what I do is I hold the butt of the rod in between my feet. I do this sitting down on my boat, I do it on my kayak, I do it just about anywhere. And then you take your fluorocarbon, and in this instance I'm using 6.5 pound Seaguar Finesse fluorocarbon for my leader. And I just drop it on the floor. Okay, so one of the tricks that I've learned is try to keep that rod off to your left, or off to the side of the hand that's holding the knot. You keep that rod off to the left and it'll give you a little bit of an angle that makes this a little bit easier to tie. Put it in your mouth, pull it line tight. Okay, and then what you do is you start wrapping, and I wrap from I start in the back and I go to the front, and I do alternate wraps, and it really is, it doesn't matter where you start, you just always want to finish closest to your face. Then the biggest thing is, one of the most important things is always pull your fluorocarbon tight after every wrap. So watch me tie 10 wraps, and I'm going to do 23 on this, and I'll explain why in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so as I was tying that, I was actually taking that line, I was bringing it around, and I was running it down the braided line. So it catches the braided line, twist the braided line over, and then I was pulling the fluorocarbon tight so the fluorocarbon wouldn't kink up. Really hard to see, this is a very, very small knot, but you're gonna do that with every wrap. And with smooth braid like this Seaguar Smackdown, you really have to tie more than 20 wraps, usually 23 to 25. And as you're tying it, if you hear a pop in your knot, or you feel a pop in your knot through your teeth, pull your fluorocarbon tight and it'll fix that. See you. All right, so once you've made your wraps, this is one of the critical things. You want to tie a half hitch. Take your braided line, run it around both your fluorocarbon and your braid, just a simple half hitch. Pull it snug. And this is where people make a mistake. They forget to tighten down right here. This is when you tighten your knot down. You go ahead and let your slack out, so I'm going to lay the rod off to the side. And you just pull. Now I got 6-pound test on here, so I'm not going to pull too tight, but you'll notice that that knot starts to turn a little translucent. Okay? And this is also when you check to make sure you've done enough wraps. If you pull here and your line starts to slip, go and make 4 or 5 more wraps and then pull it tight again, and it'll fix that. You don't have to retie the whole knot. Now that I've got it all tight, you see how small that knot is. I mean, literally, it is so stinking tiny. You take and you go 1/2 hitch, another 1/2 hitch, okay, so I got 3 total 1/2 hitches after wrapping the knot, and I isolate the tag line of the fluorocarbon. Take my scissors, and look how close I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it right on the knot. So I'm not cutting the braid, but I am cutting the fluorocarbon. And then I'm going to do 2 more 1/2 hitches. And I pull these knots snug. You don't have to freaking put a wrench to them. You just kind of pull them till they're tight. And on the last 1/2 hitch, I do a double 1/2 hitch. Wrap once, wrap twice, pull it tight. That's always the knot that comes loose while you're casting, and so you want to make it as difficult as possible. And if it comes loose, it's no big deal. You have a little tuft right there, and it's not a big deal. You got those other 1/2 hitches to stop that. So cut it pretty close, and that's your FG knot. And this is why it's so superior. It is a super strong knot. Your knot at your hook will break before this will, and it will go through your micro guides really easy, any guides, and you barely ever hear it. And so what I do with the spinning rod is I like to run, depending on the clarity, up here in Pennsylvania, up on Lake Erie, the water can get it really, really clear. I like to have about an 8-foot leader, so I'm just going to reel it up until I feel that knot. It's just going to roll around. I get myself about an 8-foot leader. I got to remember not to cut with my teeth. Sorry to my dentist. And that's it. We're done. Like I said, the FG knot is superior to any other knot that I've tried. I know there's a lot of guys that have used all kinds of other knots, and I'm going to get some that say that it's not, but it's been tested by a lot of different people for strength. It is one that is going to outperform any other knot that you use, and it's worth the time and effort to learn it. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water. Go out and catch some fish and have a great day. We'll see you.